Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. You may have seen the Liam Cameron, Ben Whitaker press conference for the rematch. This is a fight that's going to take place in April. And it wasn't really bad blood. There was some sort of barbs thrown at each other, but not really what you'd say would be anything really aggressive or insulting. Whitaker sat there eating his pasta and sort of made a little bit of fun, I guess, sort of poked Cameron a little bit with a few pointed comments saying that he got a new career out of it and a new promoter and making a few quid. Got a new hairline apparently as well. I don't know what that means. Has he had a hairline tattooed? I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway, and in fairness, Cameron said, "Yeah, that's right. I did get a new career out of it. Thank you very much." And then they talked about the first fight, and Cameron essentially said, "Look, I think he stopped short of saying he quit, but we all know what happened in that first fight because we've seen it. They're going over the top rope, and Cameron wanted to continue, and Whitaker didn't because he was injured apparently. But here's the thing. Whitaker was very dismissive of the idea that, the first fight really had any relevancy on the second fight, on the upcoming fight. And he was like, but, he had that sort of air, or he tried to put on that air of, it didn't really matter, it is what it is, it's happened, which is true, of course, it has happened. So you have to look forward to the next fight. But that fight really, I think, was a wake-up call for Whitaker. He was very, very quiet afterwards. Wasn't on social media. He's normally very sort of, outlandish and making statements and telling people how wonderful he is and all this sort of thing. But he didn't do any of that stuff. And when asked about it, he said, well, what's to say? There wasn't really much to say. It happened and that was that. Well, okay. But this is why I think that first fight was a wake-up call, and that quite simply, if it didn't have any relevancy, it would just be business as usual. But it isn't business as usual, because Whitaker is talking about, or certainly it's been reported that he's talking about thinking about getting a new trainer. Well, if there was nothing to fix, you would just carry on. But no. He's apparently having previously worked with Sugar Hill Stewart. That was for the first 6 fights of his career. And then he split. And then he had his amateur coach in his corner, Joby Clayton. But it looks like he may well end up working with Andy Lee. There have been talks with Andy Lee, reportedly. And the report comes from Boxing News, the trade paper, who are rarely wrong and have no, they are the trade paper. So they're not going to be talking any sort of tabloid crap. This is a trade paper. These are proper journalists. And if Andy Lee is the man that's going to take over, then I don't think that's a bad move. Now, of course, you do need to have that, that sort of synergy between the fighter and the trainer, because not all trainers can train all fighters. And the ones that they can't train doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad fighters. It's just that the chemistry isn't quite there. So, but I think this might be a good balance to Whitaker's sort of instinctive flash and dash. And I think Andy Lee is definitely someone who is very cerebral thinking and relies a lot on tactics. Yes, obviously, you train someone's technique and stuff, but don't forget, Whitaker is a former Olympian. He won a silver medal, and I think he's 28 years old now, pushing 29. So in terms of technicality, although you can improve very, very slightly, and that could be the difference between winning and losing, nevertheless, I think to have someone like Andy Lee sort of balancing, Whitaker's desire to be a showman, to be flashy, to do all that stupid showboating, that might get balanced out by Andy Lee's more again, more sort of, I suppose the word is more rational, more cerebral, rather than, thinking with the head rather than the heart. Might balance it out a bit more, and it might put the reins on Whitaker, not to the extent where he loses his best attributes, but to the point where it reins in the prospect of him relying too much on fighting on instinct. Because instinct is a great thing. Very often your instincts are telling you the correct thing to do. And sometimes that thing is not the easy thing or the thing you want to do. It's the difficult thing that you don't want to do, but it's the right thing. That's what your instincts tell you. And sometimes we ignore our instincts and say, well, no, actually, I'm going to intellectualize this a bit more, which it can be just as bad. But if you completely ignore your instincts and you solely just think logically and rationally, very often you can second guess yourself. You can ignore what is right in front of your face in favor of sort of rationalizing it away and doing something that you actually want to do, which you kind of instinctively know isn't the right thing. Anthony Joshua does this all the time. He overthinks and he second guesses himself to the point where he doesn't know what he thinks. So you need that balance. Again, the secret to life, a lot of it is just balance. Find that balance. The balance between the head and the heart, the balance between instinct and logic and reason. You cannot just, if the scales get tipped one way or the other to the point where one of the scales is rock bottom and the other is as high as it can go, that's not a good thing. And I think Andy Lee, also because tactically, he's a student of the game. Tyson Fury, I think quite rightly, has called him a teacher, not a coach, a teacher. And that's probably right, because if you look at the work he's done with Joseph Parker, it's been absolutely exemplary. And that, he got knocked out, Joe did, against Joe Joyce. But he's come back so brilliantly, and now he's got a fight with Dubois, which, he's not incapable of winning that. Dubois starts as the favourite. But Joe Parker is in the mix, definitely. It wouldn't entirely surprise people if he won. And a huge part of that will be tactics, what to do. Andy Lee will have studied the opponent, He will say to Whitaker, right, this is what I want you to do, this, and this. And if Whitaker goes out there and does it to the letter, fine. If he goes out there and he still shows a lot of flash, then fine. So long as you do this, and this, Once you know the script, it's kind of like an actor. Once you have a script and you learn that script, okay, so you know it word for word, then you can go off at tangents and, improvise and experiment. Why? Because, if you are in danger of getting lost, you can come back to the script. And I think that's what Whitaker has probably lost. He hasn't had that script. He's done everything on gut instinct. He's done everything on, well, I'll wing it. I'm very, very talented naturally, so I'll wing it. And he was losing his way against Cameron, and he did get out of jail with that technical draw. Because I think if that fight had continued, I know it was a 10-rounder, not a 12-rounder. Certainly if it had been a 12-rounder, I would have expected Cameron to stop him. But Whitaker was looking ragged and very bad towards the end of that fight with Cameron. And in the press conference, Cameron was saying, yeah, I got a new, thank you very much, Ben. I got a new career out of it. He wasn't denying what Ben was saying. So Ben Whitaker, for him to say, the first fight doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does. Obviously, it did mean something because you're going out and you're getting a new trainer. You've got your wake-up call. You're thinking, quietly, even though you might not admit it, you're thinking, I need to do something here because I got out of jail. I dodged the bullet. So I think it would be a good matchup, Andy Lee and Ben Whitaker. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he goes for him. I've never liked the idea of British fighters being trained by American trainers, not because they're bad trainers, they're very good trainers, but the fact is that logistically, American trainers will want to be in America. And unless you're like Lennox Lewis and you're prepared to go and stay in America and live in America, or Andy Lee, because he was trained by Stewart as well. You go over there and you live over there, it's not going to happen. It didn't work really with Derek James and AJ, although there were technical improvements, I think. But I think this is good, having someone, you know, in the same country as you, someone you can call upon at all times, and you can do some proper work with, which isn't just about technical boxing, fitness and so on, although obviously that's vital, but someone that you can study the game with, someone that you can look at opponents and dissect them and analyse them. I think that's going to be a good thing, but you need time for that. You need time for that. So I think this is a good move. What do you think? What do you think? And, you know, I know Ben Whitaker isn't very popular because of all the showboating crap, but put that aside and tell me what you think about this possible link up with our friend Mr. Lee. I think it's a good one. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for your time as always. And please, subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the like button if you like the video. And if you didn't like the video, hit the like button anyway. Why not? It's free. You'll be spreading the love. It'll be good karma or whatever it is people believe in. Anyway, cheers very much. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.